What's going on, guys? Sticks here with the Token Minorities, and I do have to apologize once again because, like Tuesday, I am still dealing with this sinus infection, which is currently absolutely killing me and making me sound like I smoke 4 to 5 packs a day, which I do not. I definitely do not. Being a med student, you really, they're very, very clear about their stance on that thing. But either way. The deck I am bringing to you guys is it is technically a Celestial Storm deck because a card from it is so insanely crucial in getting the deck to work, but that is a deck centered around Yveltal BREAK. Now, before I get into the deck, just a reminder that if you guys liked this video or found it helpful, please leave a like, drop a comment, click that subscribe button, helps us out a ton, and lets us do more cool stuff for you guys. And also, in addition to apologizing for my voice, I might have to repeatedly pause this video at certain times just so I don't cough into the mic or something like that. So again, I apologize for that as well. And as for the question of the day, so Yveltal BREAK, I did a deck video on this when it came out back in Steam Siege, and it really was not a card that was particularly good. I mean, I still was able to make a deck on it and was still able to do decently, but that's just because Dark was so powerful back then. Well, the problem with Baleful Knight is, first of all, it's 3 Darkness energy. That in and of itself is pretty difficult to pull off. Just 3 of any type of energy for an attack is pretty difficult. Doing 120 and then sniping the bench for 30, and then sniping the entire bench for 30, basically, wow, voice crack. Just be prepared for that. If you want to mute me, I completely understand. But being able to snipe the entire bench for 30 is very good, but the problem was you had to get damage on all of those Pokemon before you'd be able to snipe them for 30. And way back when this came out, that was much easier said than done, so Yveltal BREAK just kind of fell to the wayside. But now, with cards like Shrine of Punishment, where you are able to get multiple damage counters on the opponent's Pokemon very, very easily with just a stadium, and then also you have like Tapu Koko that's just able to spread 20 around, it is much easier to get the prerequisites for that bench sniping 30 from Yveltal BREAK, so it becomes much better, and quite frankly, in my testing, has been really, really fun to use, so I'm very excited to use this deck. So the question of the day is, what card from a previous set do you think got much better when paired with another card from Celestial Storm? For me, obviously that is going to be Yveltal BREAK and Shrine of Punishment, but I'm curious if there are any combos that I overlooked, so please let me know in the comment section down below. Love to hear what you guys have found and what you guys have tried out. But anyway, on to the deck. Like I said, it is centered around the combination of Yveltal BREAK and Shrine of Punishment, and I also want to give a big shout outs to PokeBeach, because that is where I got this deck list from, and I believe it was piloted most successfully at a regional by Aaron Tarbell. So big shout outs to him, and big shout outs to PokeBeach for the article that brought this to my attention. So yeah, I wanted to get that out of the way. But like I said, centered around the combination of Yveltal BREAK and Shrine of Punishment. Just basically get damage counters on all your opponent's GXs, and then Yveltal will be able to keep sniping them for 30 damage on the bench while doing 100 damage to the active Pokemon. Very, very strong combination, especially with the support Pokemon that you're able to use in a Dark and DCE centered deck. So first of all, wow, voice crack, just be prepared for those just repeatedly, over and over again, whenever I try to have any inflection in my voice whatsoever. First of all, we have an Oranguru with the Instruct ability. Once during your turn, you may draw until you have 3 cards in your hand. Now, that is very, very solid, just because it allows us to be able to draw when we are low, potentially not be as screwed over by an N, that type of thing. Next up, we do have a couple Scoundrel Guard Hoopas with, well, just the ability to not be hit by EXs or GXs. Just it's one of those cards you can play down, let Shrine of Punishments rack up, and if your opponent has a very fast working GX heavy deck, then Hoopa is something you can just kind of put up there, keep it from being able to be knocked out, and then you can just, yeah, you know, just rack up the damage, get Yveltal BREAK to be in a position to clean up, or Hoopa, in some cases, if your opponent cannot draw into the Guzmas at the appropriate times, can just win you the game. So Hoopa, very, very strong in this deck. Also a basic Pokemon that we can Max Elixir onto and is a recipient of DCEs. So just very, very strong for us to use, and also kind of contributes to the slow racking up damage aspect of this deck. Now, as for the main attackers, we are running 1-3 of the Fright Knight Yveltal, and that's not the Oblivion Wing Yveltal. This is the Oblivion Wing Yveltal. But we are running 1-3 of that because this one, it only bench snipes EXs for 60 damage, which is unfortunate. Otherwise, I believe we would definitely be running more of them. But as it stands, it can only bench snipe EXs, which have really fallen out of favor. And then Fright Knight is still a good enough ability to just turn off all tools that it's still something we can definitely use. And guys, once again, I'm so sorry. I'm really, really sorry for the way my voice sounds right now. Like, there's nothing I can do about it. I have been drinking water. I've been taking, like, Mucinex, Sudafed, all of that different stuff. So this isn't how my voice normally sounds. If you are new to the channel, I am so sorry. It's just, I'm trying to get the videos out. Like, you guys get videos Tuesday and Thursday. I have stood by that for the past year. If there's one thing that I pride myself in, it's the consistency with which I'm able to upload videos, TCG videos. So again, I'm very, very sorry about that, but if I say you're getting your videos on Tuesday and Thursday, you are getting your videos on Tuesday or Thursday, no matter what happens. Even if I'm losing my tongue, you guys are getting your videos on Tuesday and Thursday. Actually, probably not, because that'd probably be a little bit extreme. But yeah, either way, we're using more of the Oblivion Wing Yveltals, because this can accelerate energy onto our field and is more readily able to, really just more readily able to be used. And also you can use Darkness Blade for the same energy cost as if you had, well, I guess not technically the same energy cost, because you can go for 2 Darkness and a DCE and be able to Darkness Blade. But either way, you're able to accelerate energy, which is very good, just because you can accelerate onto Hoopa, Tapu Koko, other Yveltal, just things like that, to where you're able to just power things up and get things ready to go while having an Yveltal active. So that's why we're using most of those, and then only 2 Yveltal breaks, because these things do take a little while to get set up. And wow, I should probably just even have a voice crack counter in like the top left corner if I feel like it. But these things do take a while to get set up, because 3 Darkness Energy, very specific, and you cannot Max Elixir onto them. You can Max Elixir onto the baby Yveltals, but you are not able to Max Elixir onto the actual Yveltal break. So be very, very careful about when you decide to evolve into Yveltal break, because you only want to do that once you're like 1 energy away, because then you lose the ability to Max Elixir onto it. So just something to keep in mind. Running 2 Tapu Koko. Now, it is worth noting that the original list had a Latios over Tapu Koko, and that completely makes sense, because you're running into a lot more Buzzwole and other things like that that are weak to Psychic. I just decided that I wanted to go for a little more streamlined, because I mean, I'm not taking this to tournaments or anything like that. So I just decided to go with 2 Tapu Koko because of the free retreat and the ability to just spread 20 damage around to everything. Just give Yveltal the best chances, or give Yveltal BREAK the best chances to hit things for the maximum damage that it can in any situation that it can attack. So that's why I opted for 2 Tapu Koko over a Koko and a Latios. And then we were running 1 Mewtwo to be able to one-shot things like Buzzwole that would otherwise give this deck a pretty hard time, and a copy of Tapu Lele, because even though we don't have Lele into Bridget, Lele is still just very, very strong. Although be careful about how you play Lele with the Shrine of Punishment, just because, I mean, if you play Lele down, you're going to be racking up damage on your own Lele with your own Stadium. As for the items, we have 4 Max Elixir to just really streamline and quicken, make faster, I don't know. Make the ability to attack with the Yveltal BREAK faster, because otherwise, if you're just manually attaching, this deck is way too slow. Max Elixir does speed up the deck quite significantly. 1-3 of Nest Ball and Ultra Ball. Nest Ball, because vast majority of our deck is going to be basic Pokemon. So by being able to just throw something onto the bench like a Hoopa, Yveltal, or Oranguru, just something like that without having to discard, it's very, very good. Super Rod is our method of recursion. as we are probably going to have to recur both regular energy and Pokemon at one point or another. Because even though we're running 11 darkness energy, it's still something you don't want to have to run short on, as that can just lose you the game. So yeah, being able to recur both Pokemon and energy is very important for Ultra Ball. For Ultra Ball to guaranteed get us the mons we want when we want them. For Shrine of Punishment to just maximize the odds of getting that immediately so we can start racking up the damage counters. And then this was kind of interesting. 3-4-3 of Cynthia and Sycamore. Usually I go 4-3-3, but this makes sense because in the very fast decks, they're going to take a prize earlier than we are. Like, they're going to take their prizes early. And so if we're able to disrupt them with N, this deck is going to be slower anyway. So odds are we'll have longer to take advantage of the 6-card N while putting our opponent even lower. Just very cool synergy with this deck, and it shows you the types of changes that players that play this deck quite a bit and players that play this deck in competition make in order to make this deck most successful. And then for Guzma, just because very strong, very strong Guzma, and just targeting down specific things that have been heavily damaged. 3, Choice Band to boost the damage output from really just all of our attackers. 1, Float Stone because Oranguru is big and fat, and we don't want to have to manually retreat out of it. And it's not just Oranguru, just anything that you don't want to have to manually retreat out of. And then 4, DCE because everything except for Yveltal BREAK in our deck runs off it, I guess technically baby Yveltal 2. And 11, Darkness Energy so that we can odds are hit the Max Elixirs whenever we play them. So yeah, I'm done rambling about this deck. Hopefully my voice gets a little bit better as I commentate the game. So yeah, let's just go ahead and find some matches with this deck. Alrighty, we have found one against a Bellsprout Kush with a Dark, Water, Psychic, and Normal deck. So I mean, just off the top of my head, it's looking like this is like Zoroark and Glaceon. I start off with some pretty solid stuff. I mean, I start off with the Koko. I'll be able to immediately get an Yveltal down with my Nest Ball, be able to play my Shrine of Punishment, and get a Darkness Energy onto Yveltal as well. So I think, yeah, I think that might just be what I'm going to try to do. My opponent does start with a Lele, which is great for me, meaning I can rack up the damage immediately. And yeah, he does just grab a Zoroark and an Eevee. And why does my opponent's profile picture look like the lead singer from Nickelback? I just noticed that. Like, it really does. Like Chad Kroger or something like that is his name. And my opponent does just double muscle dumbbells onto Zorua and an Eevee. So that is where my Yveltal BREAK might really come in handy later in this game. So what I'm going to do, go ahead and I'm actually going to try to fish for a DCE because odds are, okay, I didn't get the DCE, sorry, but I did get another Yveltal, and with the free retreat from Koko, I can actually start just damaging this Lele and letting the damage rack up. So yeah, let's just go ahead and retreat into my Yveltal, go for an Oblivion Wing, does 60, this will do 70, and unfortunately no Darkness Energy in the discard pile for me to accelerate, because otherwise that would have been a really phenomenal turn for me if I had a way to get Darkness Energy into the discard pile. But we do see the DCE come down on Lele, and he does just Energy Drive. So that means that my opponent really doesn't have much of anything. So I'm going to play down the Mewtwo. And because my opponent literally just attached and attacked, I don't think I want to play the N. See, this is where, like, I would prefer having that extra Cynthia over the extra N. Because, I mean, like, I guess I could still technically not have the... Cynthia in my hand. Like, this could have been 2 of the 3 N. But in situations like this, I've found that, like, I really don't want to give my opponent a new hand. Like, that's just not something that I particularly would like to do in a given situation. And yeah, I mean, my opponent is going to go ahead and Energy Evolve. Please do, yes, and now I can start racking up damage on his Glaceon with Shrine of Punishment. And I will be able to take a prize off of the Lele this coming turn as well. So this is working out very nice for me. And I do get the Cynthia. And I'm holding off on evolving into my Yveltal BREAK just because I want to be able to Max Elixir onto my Yveltal. I want to be able to Max Elixir onto my baby Yveltal to try to get that thing set up as quickly as possible. And I even draw into that, so I mean there's that as well. Get the Darkness Energy, and I will be able to knock out the Lele no matter what it does. So, I mean, I think I'm just going to knock it out just because my Shrine of Punishment would take the last 10 damage anyway, so I might as well just go for the Oblivion Wing to take the damage. And if my opponent has a DCE, he will be able to knock me out. But hopefully I'll be able to get another Yveltal down. Evolves into Ninetales, Alolan Ninetales, and then plays down another Eevee. Please don't have anything. It does have a Mysterious Treasure, which means he's going to be able to get another huh? Oh, he had it in his hand. Okay, I guess he was just trying to thin out his hand a little bit, as I was probably going to go for an... Thought he was going to go for an N, but maybe my opponent's running a post-rotation deck as well. So I think, yeah, as long as he doesn't get a DCE, my Yveltal will be able to continually attack. And I should be in a pretty good spot, all things considered. He Aqua Patches onto the Alolan Ninetales, that is fine. I'm not running any GXs in this deck at all, apart from the single copy of Lele, and Lele is not meant to be attacking at all. So, yeah, I'm in a pretty good spot. He apparently doesn't have a DCE, or I would have thought he would have played that down immediately. Yeah, he just decides to play it onto his Eevee, and Energy evolves onto it. I am completely okay with that, because, I mean, that's just more Mons for me to rack up damage on, and more Mons for me to be able to attack with Yveltal BREAK. And wow, he's running a lot of Muscle Dumbbells. But, ooh, this is great. So please hit this. I don't, unfortunately. You know what? Let's just go ahead and Break Evolve, because I'm going to Sycamore away my hand. And I'm going to be having... I'm going to be playing the DCE anyway, and after I Oblivion Wing, it's just going to be a single energy away from my Yveltal BREAK being ready to go anyway. So let's just go ahead and Sycamore, throw that Darkness into the discard pile, and yeah, I do even draw into another Darkness energy of my own, which I can use to potentially get... Actually, you know what? I'm going to hold off, because I have too many good cards in my hand that I don't want to get rid of for the time being. So I am just going to Oblivion Wing for 60, get the energy onto the Yveltal BREAK, and let more Shrine of Punishment damage rack up on my opponent's GX Pokemon. I mean, his Glaceon is getting very close to being knocked out, and yeah, he must have just drawn dead. So, I mean, while I was playing that very, very slowly, it was still going in my favor, because Shrine of Punishment, the slower you play and the more turns you take, the better Shrine of Punishment will be at racking up damage on the opponent's EXs and GXs. So I was 100% willing to play that slow game. In fact, I might have even gone Tapu Koko to start spreading more damage around before I even went into my Yveltal BREAK. So it was a very, very, like, solid game in terms of showing how this deck plays. Just play it patiently, rack up damage, get things set up in the background, so that way when Yveltal BREAK comes in, you can just start spreading around damage like absolute crazy. But regardless, I still want to find a good one where I can show off Yveltal BREAK, so let's go ahead and try to find another one with this deck. Alrighty, we have found another one against a Nightclaw 1028 with looks like another Zoroark deck. And guys, if you are thinking about post-rotation, get used to seeing this. Zoroark is going to be everywhere post-rotation. In fact, it's already everywhere, so just imagine how much worse it's going to be post-rotation. So, so just get ready, prepare your bodies, whatever you need to do, because Zoroark is here, Zoroark is now, and Zoroark is unfortunately the future. I mean, even Buzzwole couldn't dethrone Zoroark from being still almost everywhere. That's just how good that card is. But either way, my opponent is going to choose who goes first, so probably... yeah, probably not going... wait, what? Opponent let us go first, so... kind of interesting, but I mean, I'll definitely take it. 100% will be able to take that. And, yeah. So, It's going to start with Mewtwo. That's not the best in the world. In fact, it's probably the worst one we could start with, given the matchup, or given what I'm assuming to be the matchup anyway. So this is going to be interesting. Especially with all the supporters in my hand, I don't just want to like Sycamore everything away. So what I think I'm going to do... Okay, so it's going to be Zoroark and Shiftry. That actually kind of makes sense. So what I'm going to do actually is get a... Let's see. Okay, there are enough Shrine of Punishments. And because I have the DCE in my hand, I'm just going to immediately get a Hoopa. As Hoopa is going to be something that's going to be able to just stall against my opponent. So let's play the Hoopa down. Put the DCE onto it. And then... N away my hand, see what I get, and I actually get some pretty solid stuff that I can work with. So, very happy with how this hand turned out. Let's play the Yveltal down, and I'm going to hold off on the Shrine of Punishment. Because I'm thinking my opponent... Well, my opponent 100% has Field Blowers. So I really want to save my Shrine of Punishment for when they can actually get use, even if I'm just trying to like bait out a Field Blower, or I know my opponent has a Field Blower. I would rather wait until they have at least a GX on board, so as soon as I play that, I can just guarantee 10 damage on that thing. It does play the Lele, so I don't know, maybe playing the Shrine of Punishment then would have been fine, but I mean, this way, coming into my turn, or with my turn, I can play the Shrine of Punishment down, and will guarantee get that 10 damage on the Lele for my Yveltal break, to be able to just start plowing through some stuff. Like it'll be able to get have the damage on the bench Pokemon that it needs, and then can just start spreading around damage while hitting the active Pokemon for 120. And again, I apologize if I have to pause the video. Just the okay, so my opponent is not playing post rotation. Good to know. I apologize if I have to pause the video for my voice, just because I really do not want to cough into the mic. That's the last thing I want to do. So it's just kind of one of those, tell you what, if you deal with me not coughing into the mic, or if you deal with me, if you put up with my voice, I will not cough into the mic for you. I don't even know what I was trying to say, guys. I am losing my mind. I am delirious. The sinus infection is not only affecting my voice, it's affecting my brain as well. But for the time being, we can go ahead and play this slow game. My opponent is going to have... Honestly, it looks like he's just going to play a crap load of EXs on board. Because, I mean, there's 3 Zorua, there's a C-Dot, and my Shrine of Punishment is going to start racking up damage on all of those. So I'm just going to go ahead and start damaging the Lele. I could have taken out a Zorua, but I figured, if I'm going to get the extra damage, I might as well just take out the Lele, get a couple extra prizes early on. And then the second he plays down Zoroarks, I will be able to Shrine of Punishment them to get more damage onto them. So it's just kind of a good position. He also doesn't really have... I mean, he has to start powering up his Oranguru if he wants to be able to start attacking my Hoopa. Because otherwise my Hoopa will just be untouched by his Zoroark and his Shiftry and his Lele. And there's really nothing he's going to be able to do about it, so he'll have to attack with the Oranguru, which is something that I'm definitely going to be okay with. Like, I will 100% take that. What's he... Yep, he is going to start putting the energy onto the Oranguru. We're going to start racking up the damage on the Zoroark, and would you look at that, we even get an energy, so let's play that down, go for Cynthia, see what we can get, and... Ooh, I like this. So let's Max Elixir, see if we can hit it. We do, which means that my Yveltal break will actually be good to go in the upcoming turns as soon as I'm able to get that going. But for the time being, we're just going to take our prize off of this Lele and, yeah, take a couple prizes, force my opponent's hand. He probably, yeah, almost assuredly has a DCE, or at least I would think he would, given the situation. As, okay, he's going to just promote the Oranguru, that's fine. I'm really kind of hoping that my Shrine of Punishment is keeping him, yeah, there's the DCE. Really hoping that my Shrine of Punishment is keeping him from playing down the other Zoroarks, because by him not playing down the other Zoroarks, it's preventing him from having that extra draw support. So if just those little extra damage counters are preventing the insane amount of extra draw support that Zoroark can provide, then I'm good with that. Like, that is completely fine with me. That is actually great for me, because it just puts me in a better situation overall. He is going to Puzzle of Time. Curious for what he's going to do. Is he just going to rearrange the top 3 cards of his deck, or is he going to get 2 things out of the discard pile? Because it really... Sorry. Wasn't a cough, it was a clearing of the throat. I was going to go for a Malo and a Guzma. That makes sense. He is going to Malo, put a couple cards on top of his deck. Curious as to what those might be. But either way, he is just going to put those cards on top. He's going to trade to get both of those. I'm thinking... What's he going to grab? He actually does just get rid of the Guzma, which is very good for me. Gets the Enhanced Hammer. Ooh, good play. Very good play. Enhanced Hammer and a Field Blower. Well, great for him, but I still have the Shrine of Punishment in my hand. He does confuse me, which is very, very unfortunate. But what I can do is Ultra Ball, get rid of... So how do I want to play this? So I can play it for a Float Stone, or I can play it for hitting a Max Elixir. I think what I'm going to do is Ultra Ball, grab... I could just even grab the Lele for a Guzma, if I wanted to. But there's 6 Darkness in the deck, there's 3 Max Elixir. I have pretty good odds, all things considered, of getting... Yeah, I have pretty good odds, all things considered, of getting of hitting my Max Elixir, of getting and hitting a Max Elixir, as opposed to the Float Stone. So let's just go ahead and Sycamore. Okay, I actually hit both, but I don't hit the Yveltal Break. So what I think I'm gonna do is Max Elixir. I whiff it, unfortunately. Not a huge deal. But then I can just energy up the other baby Yveltal, Float Stone up the Hoopa, Nest Ball for either the Koko or for nothing. I think I'm just going to Nest Ball for nothing. And unfortunately, if I do Super Rod, it will have to get the Darkness Energy back into the deck, so I really don't want to do that, as I do want to Oblivion Wing that, and I do get another Darkness Energy, so I mean, hey, that works. Go ahead and go into my baby Yveltal, and just go for an Oblivion Wing. I mean, it gets more energy on board, keeps my Hoopa out of danger, and now I'm actually going to play that onto the other Hoopa on my bench, as opposed to the baby Yveltal that is ready to turn into an Yveltal Break, just because I want to have him not be like, okay, this thing is completely set up, I can just target down that thing. No, I want him to be like, okay, he has a bunch of things that can get set up, so I have to be worried about that. And then he does Copycat and gets 3 cards, so I mean, a very strong move by me to that was an expert move on my part, just to leave my hand with only 3 cards because I knew he would have a Copycat. I am completely joking, I had no idea. But he is going to go into his Zoroark GX and attack into my baby Yveltal for 100 damage. That is fine with me. I get another Darkness Energy, so that's really unfortunately that's really not going to be helping. But what I can do, DC on the Hoopa, Super Rod the Yveltal back into the deck, and then let's instruct for another card, see what I can get, and it's an Yveltal Break. So that doesn't really, not really helping all that much. But at the same time, do I want to play it yet? I don't want to play it yet because then it'll become a target. So what I think I'm going to do is just Oblivion Wing once again, put the Zoroark in range of, if the Shrine of Punishment stays active, coming back into my turn, or stays on the field, coming back into my turn, then Yveltal will be able to take out his Zoroark and damage his other Zoroark and his Oranguru. So I think I'm actually in a very, very good position, all things considered. He does Rare Candy into a Shift Tree, so that's going to be even more damage that we are racking up, and that is absolutely gorgeous. Like, I could not ask, really couldn't ask for much of a better situation, because I mean, Shrine of Punishment is just going to be racking up the damage like crazy. He is going to be able to knock out my baby Yveltal. But at this point, I will be able to promote my Yveltal, evolve into an Yveltal Break, attach an energy, and then I still am going to be able to Oranguru for at least a card. Oh no, what's he going to bring up? Gonna bring up the Hoopa. That's fine with me. As... Actually, that's less fine. I would have rather he knocked out the... baby Yveltal. But, ooh. So this is nifty. Can I hit this? If I hit the... No, of course I can't. I was about to say, that'd be very nice if I could hit that, because that's another energy on board. But what I think I'm going to do is go ahead and evolve into Yveltal Break, see what I can draw, and I actually draw into a Guzma. And Zoroark is actually in range of being knocked out. So the thing is, do I want to bring that up and knock it out? I think that might be... So I can either do that, bring up his other Zoroark, or bring up his Shiftry, but I think I'm just going to take my 2 prizes off of this Zoroark. He's getting closer and closer to the other Zoroark being in range of a Baleful Knight, and yeah, I'm just getting... That was amazing. Just able to hit the active for 150 damage, able to hit 3 bench Pokemon for 30 damage apiece. Like, that was incredible. Like, that was a great turn. And he is going to be able to go into his Shiftry. If he's able to match my hand, then he will be able to knock me out. But again, that's still a single prize Pokemon. Like, he is just going for a single prize Pokemon in this situation. So yeah, he does get it. Does he get... Yep, he gets the Kukui. He's going to be able to knock me out. Very, very good play on my opponent's part. But what he doesn't... Yeah, I mean, I'm down to 2 prizes. Like, I'm down to 2 prizes at this point. Like, Hoopa's going to be able to hit for some very good damage while Shrine of Punishment is still active. And actually, if I can hit this Max Elixir onto my baby Yveltal, which I do, very glad that I decided to put up the free retreating Hoopa, I'll immediately have another Yveltal Break ready to go. So if I can draw into a Guzma, then I might just win the game. So let's go ahead and evolve that. I mean, it is damaged, but now my opponent has to decide, does he want to target down the Hoopa, or does he want to try to hit into the Yveltal Break, which is going to be a big problem for him. I'm going to go ahead and end, just give myself a fresh hand. And how do I want to play this? So I could go into could attack with my Hoopa, but then his Oranguru will be able to knock me out. So what I think I'm going to do, go into my Yveltal, attack this Shiftry, and yeah, now Zoroark, so he could, okay, never mind, my opponent just forfeits. What I was saying is, what he could do is go into his Oranguru, but then my Hoopa would be able to knock him out immediately following, and he would have no way of attacking Hoopa. If he went into Zoroark and kept that thing active, then if Shrine of Punishment stayed in play and he didn't field blower that away, the damage racking up would have been sufficient for Hoopa to be able to knock out that thing and for me to take the game. So really, I was in a checkmate position right there because of Yveltal Break, and I'm very, very satisfied with that last one. Yveltal Break was able to come in, take a big hit for 150 damage, and spread 30 damage to 3 different Pokemon on my opponent's bench. I mean, this was a perfect example of why this deck works and why I think this deck is very strong now, thanks to Shrine of Punishment. But more importantly, I hope you guys enjoyed watching. Again, I am sorry for my voice. I'm gonna work on getting better. I promise I will. Scout's honor. Like, comment, subscribe, all that good stuff, and this is Styx signing out. Why not? See you guys.